Alright, so welcome guys. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the improvisation stuff that will going to be need to further accentuate the process of our motion fields. Okay. Well, by the word motion field, I would like to say the behavior of the fluid is very, very important when it comes to the puff of the dust from the sack, from the bag, of course. Let's see, we're going to play this video in front of you, which I've got this simulated output from our previous lesson without the usage of any fields. Okay, so let me just play that one. And here you can see very clearly that no doubt the simulation process is taking place. The fluids are doing its role. Of course, we are utilizing some gradient force. Because of that only you could see there is an initial push which is given to the fluid at the bottom right side of the directions. But if you're going to concentrate to the upper left portion of the screen, I generally couldn't able to get that much of interest. As it's clearly apparent, we are not able to get that much amount of the puff of the dust, which is also very important. So what I have came up with the solution is that we're going to introduce some external fields that will going to provide us turbulence as well as the vorticity to improvise the stuff. So let's just do one thing. Let me just keep that a stop or a pause. And let me just open up the one that I've got with the help of the usage of two volume axis field, which you can see. And now it's just time to play that stuff once again. So here you can see that clearly with the help of these two volume axis field, I could have got much life to the upper left hand section in the screen. And again, let me just tell you with one thing. I haven't utilized any of the changes inside these two files with respect to the same resolution, with respect to the same emitter, and with respect to everything which is same except the inclusion of two volume axis fields. So I guess guys, you all must have got the idea where we have to approach. So let me just close that stuff and now just come inside the Maya to create them. So here you can see that I've already created these two fields. For sure, I'm going to discuss the attributes, the position placements, and the overall creation process with you. Okay, so let me just do one thing. Let me just hide them once again. And I'm going to create them. You can access them under the menu field. Let's say we're going to create the volume axis with the default settings, I guess. And as you can see, they're really going to be very small inside their volume. So first we do have to scale up the size. I guess 25 will going to be work properly. Okay, they're approximately the size of my fluid container, but of course we'll be going to change the shape. I would like to consider volume shape to be this pair. Okay, and you can also see that there are some default attributes which is I guess away from the center. Somewhere around here. So the away from the center will not going to utilize because away from the center will going to puff up the fluids according to its own, according to the volume axis, which surely the way we don't want. Reason why? Because for that we are already utilizing the normal speed from the emitter itself. And again, as you can see, I also do have something called away from axis, since this attribute is not going to be important because that is built for cylindrical field. Okay, so let me just put that thing to 0. So the important attribute for us will going to be the along axis. That's really going to be important for us because this attribute will going to guide us to exactly, or you can say more or less, the direction of the vectors, the place where exactly you are looking for. For example, in our scene, like a couple of seconds before, I show you with the video where we can see the upper left portion and the center part of the reaction was also having some detailed motion fields. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to arrange these two volume axis field in such a way so that we could collect some more voxels, so we could contain some better dust behavior in the upper left and the upper center part of our container. Okay, and again, we're also going to concentrate on the turbulence. For me, 0.35 to zero point 0.2 values will going to work absolutely fine because I don't want to give a larger turbulence that will make the fields very, very unstable, because you have to keep this thing in your mind that we are utilizing the simulation rate scale set that thing to 3 in our initial state. So with simulation rate scale setting to 3, we're obviously going to deliver a lot of impulse. Okay, so we have to be really very careful regarding the magnitude as well as the turbulence of these volume axis field. Again, coming back to the turbulence speed, we don't want a greater change in the behavior of our motion fluids. So just recommend you to go with 0.1 should be sufficient. And of course, the turbulence can never ever going to be once really going to be a very smaller values. So that will really going to show you a non-realistic motion of the fluids. So I recommend you to go with 0.1. Okay. And one last thing you can do is that you can switch on the detailed turbulence. Okay, so that's going to be good. And of course, now let's just concentrate upon the magnitude. Since these fields cannot be last longer, I mean to say that you must be remembering the start was at 33 frames and the end of this thing is somewhere around 150 frames. So we just cannot let the magnitude to be consistent throughout the simulation process. So what I've got is that we're going to use 25 to 30 as a magnitude of this volume axis field. I'm going to key that stuff, and from 33 till 60, or let's say 63, I'm going to give this as a 0 because the puff of the dust will going to be only for our initial frames. Okay, I believe so guys, you must have got the idea now. Just going to delete that one and bring the other fields back into the action. So here you can see that I have just duplicated this field. I have also linked up the volume axis field 2 by going to the relationship editors, dynamic relationships, and clicking the fluids and linking with this and this. All right. So that's really going to be very easy setup. I don't need to create another one for that. Now, let me just open up with the graph editor and let's just going to see what I have actually did. At frame 33, I have given 30 as a magnitude, and at frame 63, I have given magnitude 0 as discussed. Okay. So the position is really going to be very important. I suggest you guys, you should go somewhere around in this way. I mean, one need to be perpendicular to the another one, or simply you can say the intersection should be made in this manner. All right. So by doing this, you're going to have a really interesting the behavior, or you can say the motion of the fluids. Okay. So I believe so I made my point clear to all of you guys. And now let's just move to the next lesson to further improvise the look and feel as well as the lighting of our fluids. Okay.